Listen up, everybody. We need to stand up to this new teacher and insert ourselves.
The entire South Park franchise is about a group of boys making mistakes. But we're here today to talk about mistakes the people who animate these foul-mouthed boys made. Number 1. While Randy Marsh would have trouble keeping a mailbox in place, we think there is a simpler explanation. In the South Park Streaming Wars TV movie, it seems Stan's family mailbox has some appearance issues. Between shots, the mailbox appears and reappears in this scene outside Tegrity Farms. Number 2. Token's family appears to have done some quick refurbishing between scenes. In Token's home, a comfy chair that sits behind their couch in front of the fridge seems to disappear between scenes. To be fair, no one was sitting on it, so we guess they decided to move it. Number 3. We always knew Kyle was a good kid, but this little secret takes the cake. In the Streaming Wars TV film, while the kids are on the bus, a piece of trash that was on the ground of the bus disappears between shots. Now maybe Kyle picked it up on his way to the back of the bus because he's such a good kid, but there are 2 pieces of trash, so it's more likely this is just a mistake. Whoops. Number 4. Cartman is actually not the tool we're discussing in this mistake. In Streaming Wars, while Kyle and Cartman work on some arts and crafts, a toolbox appears when the film cuts back to the pair sitting next to each other. None of the kids brought it in, and it's never explained. Also, it's a pretty big box, so it's a pretty large mistake. Number 5. The plan Pee-Pee is pitching is not the only gross error in this scene. In Streaming Wars, where Pee-Pee the Venetian water park owner is selling, well, not just water, the background has some consistency issues. Specifically, the blue poles appear in the second shot when we cut back to the water park owner on the right side. Number 6. Thank goodness you have working internet so you can catch this next South Park error. In overlogging, South Park, and the world at large, must deal with having no more internet. In this episode, Kyle says he has to log on before school. The next shot shows that it is Monday, 8 days without internet. But that doesn't make sense because 8 days before would have been a Sunday when the internet went out.
I think I know what's wrong.
And Kyle said he's going to school. Maybe he meant Sunday school, but I thought he was Jewish. Number 7. For you World of Warcraft veterans, this next mistake was pretty obvious. In the critically acclaimed and awesome episode, Make Love Not Warcraft, everyone in South Park has WOW fever. The problem is, despite everyone's dedication to the game, very few members of the playing community in South Park have armor on, except for the main boys and some of their friends from school. We're not even Warcraft pros, and we know that armor is a very important part of the game. Number 8. While many would not want to watch this episode again, not because it's bad, but because it's so violent, we had to in order to bring you this mistake. In Woodland Critter Christmas, the narrator says it's Christmas Eve day, but then the doctor in the episode says it's 3 days until Christmas. Now, granted, the narrator turns out to be Cartman telling a messed up story to his class, and he's a child, but this was definitely a mistake on the writer's part, just as dreaming up these creatures was also a terrible, terrible mistake. Number 9. We've got some notes about the missing notes in this scene. In the Guitar Hero episode when Stan and Kyle are playing, there are no notes on the TV in the 4th key area. However, you can see the boys play those notes on their guitars and get it right without the wrong key sound playing. A little picky, but that's what we're here to do. Number 10. These geeks would fit right in with the folks from our channel. In 4th grade, when the 2 geeks first fight about how many episodes there were for Star Trek, the blonde guy says there's 72 and the other guy says there's 73.
Oh, he actually thinks there's 72.
However, later when the blonde geek is telling the boys about it, he says there are 73. Now, this may be a joke about how their argument is that unimportant, but we say otherwise. And not just because we would totally do the exact same thing. Number 11. Seems we have to babysit the animators after this mistake. In the episode Cat when Shelly's boyfriend Skylar is playing the song for Shelly and Cartman is hanging on the coat rack, you can see what looks like a picture of Cartman's grandparents hanging on the wall. But when Shelly walks over and flings Cartman up into the ceiling for arguing with her, look at the wall. The picture is completely gone. Shelly is the worst babysitter ever.
I'm gonna bust this door down!
Number 12. We're just glad this means Kenny's mom owns more than one shirt. In Cartman Joins Nambla, when Kenny approaches his mom with a plunger, she asks, "What are you doing, Kenny?" And she is wearing an I'm with stupid t-shirt. But when Kenny tries to plunge her, the phrase God bless America can be seen visible on her t-shirt as she runs away. Number 13. The animators cooked up another animation error for us to cover. Early on in the series, before his demise, whenever Chef has his pointing finger up and you see his hand, he has 5 fingers. But when he opens them all the way in the jazz hands fashion he likes to do, he only has 4. Feels like an inside joke to us.
Is that what I said?
Number 14. Not only are the characters of South Park odd, their schedules are too. In proper condom use, when the boys cause a mini tremor by blowing up the girl's base, the time at which it occurs is strange, because when they do it, both Stan's parents are at home, even though they both have jobs, Miss Chokes on expletive and Mr. Mackey are at her house getting it on, indicating that school is over, yet the other teachers are still at the school. It's just as we thought when we were all kids. Teachers live at school. Number 15. Again, we're geeks, which is why this matters, but it does. In Are You There, God? It's Me, Jesus, the episode where Cartman thinks he's had his period, a news report says it was merely a viral infection and that simple antibiotics will cure it. But antibiotics are only used on bacteria and have no effect on viruses. Can you believe that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who made their careers on poop jokes, wouldn't know that?
Way that it doesn't happen in any other way.
Number 16. The kids have always had bad mouths, but this is taking it a little too far. In the episode Fat Camp, as Stan and Kenny ask Chef whether Kenny is a prostitute, Kyle's mouth is rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise. The scene was so awkward, Kyle's mouth got twisted, we guessed. Number 17. While Officer Barbrady's voice has always been odd, this time it's even more so. In the Erection Day episode, Officer Barbrady gives some terrible advice to Jimmy outside the school. When he does, his voice and accent sound completely different from how he has sounded in the past.
Oh, Christ, how do you kids do it?
Seems Trey forgot how to do that character that week.
There you are!
Number 18. He might just be Jimmy to you, but we need to know the full truth. In the South Park episode where Jimmy and Timmy join a gang, Jimmy's last name is given as Swanson. However, in Up the Down Steroid in Season 8 and Forevermore, it's changed to Jimmy Vulmer.
The 2004 special athlete is Jimmy Vulmer.
Number 19. Someone needs to get a proper electrician on this ASAP. In the South Park movie Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, when the switch is thrown to electrocute Terrence and Phillip, it's pulled downwards. A few shots later, we see Cartman jump in to save the Canadian comedians by turning the switch off. But to do so, he also pulls the switch downwards instead of upwards. That's not how that works, movie. Number 20. A case of battling chefs, but it's not a reality TV show. In the first South Park film, when the boys are greeted by Chef while getting their lunch, the word chef on his apron appears with only the first letter capitalized. But in the next shot, the word chef on his apron appears in all caps. Those were all our favorite mistakes in South Park. Any you noticed that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more animated content. And thanks for watching The Things Animated.